네, 배자되네. 냠도 송로낭.
Tashitile to everyone. Please follow me in chanting the text.
Guru Bema Bawo Kan Tsona Jeba Damje Ko Karada Zungdak Ngaji Loyang Doji Gomba Rigba Rang Sharji Dala Dede Dadrilji Dadan Ziljimbe Dunje Namgara Jambara Juru Jelama Gandzo Namji Medala Doje Jeze Tidada Gamzum Zem Jenam Semloma Denje Ngandonal Desene Drube Nawarajam Mandodo Jurbe Zem Jela Purare Do Benal Jornge Shenkajene Zujembe Palama je jone Lungaye danyo mene bar Tende zango beden laba Le jawai de jidan lanjo Nere de nyam gejen de ro Taranjen de Ngöndro bai Kelama de zo namje Medage go zonje lo Medage go zonje lo Medage go zonje lo Dene lungku chuk nyamdo salro nang.
Please follow me in the ninefold exhalation of the still breath.
La so da de je la ane lama la so la da bia da ane chilap shu wa de nyamdo sono nang.
So next is supplicating the Guru and soliciting the blessing from Guru. Please follow me in doing this.
Balden zawe lama rembo je da ge ju Peme den la shu ga den jembe gon che zon de go zon do je ngo zhom zao do zo de zon san je dam je je ngo la ma rinpo je je da ge ju min je chol wa ra je je lam do zo sam lam je do ba je ba ra je ju la je wa ra je je lam do zo se de nye la wa za zo ba je lam jo dar je ba ra chen je lam do zo de zum san je dam je je ngo lama rinpo je je da ge ju min je chol wa ra je je lam do zo sam lam je do ba je ba ra je ju la je wa ra je je lam do zo se de nye la wa za zo ba je lam jo dar je ba ra je je lam do zo de zum san je dam je je ngo lama rinpo je je da ge ju min je chol wa ra je je lam do zo sam lam je do ba je ba ra je ju la je wa ra je je lam do zo se de nye la wa za zo ba je bu lam jo dar je chen je lam do zo solwa de zo lama rinpo je dongwe bedo je 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 kalme da la re za ju le tu ye irmen je bara je je lo Kema dagi gyuje gangde jang tal juro dine shendo nye bara tunne che zon nye zon che la nye kewa drube longa ma jun rinjen lingne donglo o nye kalde chuje pemba ma jun chine mi lue nye bara ka la jo la so nga zo yang jar han ngondo kumi ji rimba dile bare ane kaya zana nga zo samjan tamjen dewa dogu yo bada tungal mi do wade danyam re de yore ane dewa drupje ji gyutsu ne tambi chue chag yore kaya zana tedo tamje sem la ra legu yo bare sem la le da nyomong ba ne sunje tungal le tar yo mare de le cholwa ina tungal la tarwa yindu de tar jingi gyutsu de chue yin bare
Okay. Now we are at the stage of doing preliminary practice. And for preliminary practice, generally, we are sentient beings are equal in wanting happiness and not wanting uh, sufferings. And then for that, the ways or the method to accomplish happiness is the sublime Buddhas. And in order to transform our mind in the state where we experience less suffering, we need the sublime dharmas. So now we are practicing the sublime dharmas.
Nida tambi chue namda jindu gugu yu na ngondro ngoishi che jirimba dine le mingu yure ta ngondro de la tumung chi yu ngondro lodo namba shi tumung nang yu ngondro ene chanchu chodo sem je bada ene ti le dine sabdo chimba ina ene sama tongma nila lo jungwa la somba rimba momba chi le gu yu zang tanda nga zo tumung chi yu ngondro lo jung namba shi de ene kom chimbi kabre
So, as for the sublime dharmas, it has the this excellent beginning, excellent main body, and excellent conclusions. And within those, we are at the stage or point of practicing the four mind changings. 4-point changing the mind towards the Dharma, and as well as the first the stage of the excellence, the generation of the bodhicitta, and then later stage which slowly leads to the understanding of the profound emptiness. Uh, but at this point, we are at the stage of practicing the excellent beginning, the four mind changing.
다 로도 남바 실레 angbo ngazo milure mboche de nyeka wada tuen chenpo yobade ngazo komsaware rede da tero milure mboche de ne tuye kazo borda lage yome shira hagoya yomare ene da milure mboche de meba chabada ene milure mboche tobring de la ene ngazo donda chenpo je rumanu bayina shira ge pangborwa tene pangbo yundu ene milure 가수 버드 내기를 칸에 내기를 딱 봤대 막 가야 매바디 는 검심에 가비.
So then within these four the mind changing practice, we have already talked about the practice of the difficulties of finding the precious human body, as well as how precious it is. And when this precious human body is wasted, when we are having this, if we are unable to utilize this properly, then it will be a very pity things. All right. So however, if we are able to use this human precious body, then we will gain a huge victory. So now we are at the stage of talking about this the human body, which is on the one hand very precious, on the other hand it's also very easy to lose, which is very impermanent. It's on the course of strong impermanence.
미다보고 메들라양 네 검난다가 가지 유빈나네 네 친누지 지된다 낭주지 샘젠다 네 기고 담배 기고라 섬데 미다보 검조 숨데 먼저 삼로당 차와래 다네 기고 덕벌라 섬데 미다보 검바데 네 삼로당기.
So then within the teachings of the impermanence, we have already talked about the impermanence of the external world as well as internal beings, and at the same time the impermanence of the sublime beings. Now we will talk about the impermanence of the pure beings.
란다 계고 당보스데 지금 이제 감데 아니 전에는 로망보 지게 제라 아니 로아메다 섬제 망보지 차 된절라다 왕겨 제겐제 아니 가서고라 또 뭔가 정보 요게 잘보다 롬보다 아니 장송라서바다 된데 차대게 요래 그래다 된서 명량다 정보 또 뭔가 정보 요게 강사 인나야 뒤단다 아니 로자 야메지 미마도바 디잉은 지미도 샤라샤라 통한가 요 말에 와 된데라 아니 조선은 삼로당로랑 간선은 아주 단다 밀리디 뱀에서 개좀버려데 상니나니 하마라 샤라 하고 요 말에 매바잖아 배 방보로 와 명년도 요 봐서면 된데 가요 말에 또 뭔가당 요 봐서면 또 된데 가요 말에 와 된데라니 조선 어느 삼로당로랑.
So, sorry, I made a mistake earlier. Now we are talking about the impermanence of powerful people. It's not pure people, powerful people. Sorry. So then those powerful people such as kings, ministers, as well as lords, so forth, those are very powerful, right? Generally in the society and in the world. But they are also living under the control of the impermanence. Even though they are very powerful, they are very wealthy, they will die, right? In the world within the limits of the 100 years, no one no one is living beyond that length of the years. Right now what we could see as a human friends around the world all are just people of these centuries. No one has lived beyond these centuries or living from the earlier centuries. So now, yeah, take a moment and contemplate on these point that we all are, yeah, uh, dying, oh, in a way, on the course of impermanence. Even though our human precious body is very, noble and valuable, but we don't know when we will die. So we don't know whether we will die tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. Nothing is certain. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this.
나서 안 되네 제 나게고 더보다 운항 뭔가 저기 송다라서 볼 때바이나 아니 칼바야도 제 값서 선하면도 미남셀로 제리라서 본네 비 값서 네 콜로디베 잘보 중그래 중화래 송고여래 아니 콜로디베 잘보 알라드네 서지 콜로디베 잘보 ngulji 콜로디베 잘보 라서 받네 나가 마모 중고여서래 전저래래지 zambolling chikdang ani ling shenpa ni dang sum shi la so ba tena la wang gyurbe jalba chungre chungwa re la gu yorwa re de ta tenzo lo ju do chikdang khashe ji gi ming ta na ko ju yora me la do chikdang tena ma do ba ko lo ju be jalba to ya kha yo ma re ko lo ju be jalba ina ya shi go gu yore 아니 tenzoji lombo dang sumbo dang tendeji 아니 강사 제벌도 봐봐 몸보 중 유주래데 tenzo양 단단 가서 명자마도 와 동양 가면도 와 딘등 가서 양 아니 명톱 권내라서 봐 여바이나한다 매바이나한다 아니 담아데 신애진점마도 봐 시올라다도 소요 말에 어딘데 교수 섬나로나
So then about those powerful people, according to Abhidhamma Koksha, you know, in earlier eons, 8,000 or 80,000 years ago. Yeah. And according to Abhidhamma Kosha, then there were kings such as the king who are turning the wheel of the gold, turning the wheel of the silvers, and then they conquer the world of several universal systems, and not only one world. They conquered huge or the territory, which is like several world systems, then they had many powerful ministers, and they had the other entourage, as well as the families, and and so forth, and great deal of power. But all of them, none of them, right now are living human beings. They are just the names, right, for us. None of them are existing now. All of them are already gone. So just like that, for ourselves, however we are, if we are very powerful, if we have high, to a position or a lot of wealth, well, any beings, we have to die one day. So now take a moment and contemplate on this.
마소 티네 다나진도 제던제 감데라 원생아다 템베 장송 아니 망보샤라지 엄마 로주드는 샤여레데 단다 아니 뭐지 통해야 되는 샤라샤라 개요 말에 근데 다 자의 매직 장송되는 단다 자의 유주래라 다신 통해면도와 근데 나랑도 미 규마 담말와이나 단이 희위 조진래 수지 달아요 말에 제당 수인나야 깨왜 담아디 시고야랑 로아 저는 엄마 단다 버도 깨네 마시 버지 가서 미그 동료요 말에 나왜 동료요 말에 이게 되나 양고 가서 그래 다가서 로도지 이제 된저마도 봐 내던라데네 깨왜 담아 마시면 레겐 수지 안 매버래 딘데 인도 소소를 양 딜 만데 봐 인도 에는 내 르덴 토바데 아니 다가서 초라다는 마셔봐지 전날마지 누구 인냐바지 아니 선나단 거고요래 근데 교 공부하러나
So in this world also, there were historical accounts of having many sages with various powers of being able to predict things, having all these various powers. However, all of these sages are also just a name now, just historical names. We don't meet them anymore. We might meet those within the length of this 100 years. We might meet some the beings within these 100 years. Some are around 100 years. However, other than that, we are unable to meet beings from earlier times, right? And just like that, then ourselves are also subject to death. We all will die one day. We are born at 13 time, and then we have to, without any choice, we have to die. No one lived, you know, without needing to die. There's no, being. There's no such being in this world, right? So, since this is the case, then, when we have these precious human bodies, we have to be able to utilize it well. We have to, commit ourselves, even being able to use this human precious body well. Now, please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
老祖，大那些都，你旅居定呢？你快便咪，扎针的那蒙古就有来的，那定那了边那，他脚步去，你饮食个的呢，那咱们小路搞我搞咋了有来，龙波，你扎针这个你饮食个小路搞我搞咋了中华的，你马本人的中华的，长巴的中华的，你当马饮边呢？中巴不介绍全部饮食个都当。아니 개발년도 좀 인생한다 어때니 그래서 그래 내가 제간다 강말라서 보소는 제가 좀 인생한다 다 미타제 민여바 망보지 너무 중요하대 되는 로줄로 커봐 다 망보 요주래 로줄라 마콘데 라대 봐요 망보 요주래 단다 가시 가서 민 장주 요주래라 가시 매양신게 요 말에 단다 사면들 조사와와 단 로자이 메지 미는서 드네 때때 라요 제라마도 되면지 니 현재들 라요 말에 다 로자 나라 단에서는 로자 나라 다되미양 배지배지 조사와래 가시 라나양 랍시 주요 말에 되네 인도당 나라양 희원들레 서원이네 다르게 말에 내요 말와 근데 신게진레스 어디는 라양 교수 삼는다로나
Okay, then also in the histories, there have been many famous peoples, such as kings, claiming to be kings, those beings, powerful beings, not only in the east but also in the west, and those claiming to be, powerful ministers in the east as well as in the west, and then powerful generals and the commander or generals, and then people like businessmen and women, powerful, rich, and as well as those claiming to be knowledgeable, authors, right? And at the same time many other beings such as architects and all the people from various walks of life all of those peoples, you know, you know, even though some of them might be accounted in the history books, but they're still just historical accounts, right? They are not here with us anymore. Many of them, of course, then has not, their story has not been, you know, recorded in the history books, of course, but they all of them are gone already, right? And yeah, probably we might see those people, like these kind of people, kings and the minister and general business people, within this century, right? We might see these people, some are older, about to die, but we might see. But apart from that, we don't see the those powerful from earlier centuries, right? All of them are gone, from the earlier centuries. All those people are gone. So just like that, ourselves, will one day, after some time later, will surely also, be gone. So please now take a moment and contemplate on this point.
나서 나서 다 미다바 곰곰 라고바디 조 최라 존주다 존랑제제네 탑시제 자기 말에 되는 마도바 는 가르서 오래 미섬랑昂다 제주로나 징낭 제주지 탑레 땡기여래 되는 말아 망보지기 아니 미다바 곰도메 섬랑昂다 제도 선데네 땡겨여래 단다 조 미다바 곰고바디 달줄 밀루른 버체데 다 탱마직니 마도바 토베 매바레 토비디가 없다가 초라도나 배사그로와 오네 오버하신 거나 미다바 이행가래 아니 그 가디시 마제 내내가요 말와 디 롤롤롤 전 대상나 아니 뉴르신 조바시 쓰기래 디시존은 밀루토바데 배주양다바지 땅에 고갑는 말아바샤로고요 디 고갑데 단단해야 땅게 졸라 땅게면서 로지래 미 그래서 그래 총바든서 총제지 고갑 약보지라고 해놓고 깔리 휴지 자기요래 롭종바든서 롭종제지 고갑 약보 휴지라는 틀라 깔리 휴지 자기요래 네 망민도 막지 네 뒤서 자다보지 또 보이나 틀라는 건조 깔리 휴지 자기요래 내가 가리나 소소소소 내가 내 전부는 개 전부 그냥 가을 전부 통도 네 뒤서 내가 라파바 이나 르브지나 샤가 말아와 땅 아주 심지 인제 공부 동알레 타르고 요래 디 동알 타레 이 탑지 약쇼데 밀르데네 초라 당샤나 지금 말아와 지에는 초라 미당 뭐 존주 여부 제다 조 여부 제지 탑라 미다 버선 거래 딱 보면 뭐 면도 네 오늘 저희 남마저 주부 인삼 중선의 미다 봐 양자 이제 공부야 요 말에 디스물 여부 맞게 버도 kom go yore nang da jira ge ji ta mare Tsondru ge ji ta bin mare
So then, why we are talking about the impermanence and practicing impermanence? The reason is basically to have diligence and joy in practicing Buddha Dhamma. It is not for generating tensions and fears in us. And some people might think practicing the impermanence would bring fear to us, and then might not be interested in practicing impermanence. But however, that's a wrong view, and the practice of the impermanence is mainly for the sake of not wasting the precious human bodies. The precious human body is very difficult to obtain. Once it is obtained, then it is very valuable, right? So in order to make these, the human precious available, we have to practice impermanence, right? We have to practice on impermanence. The nature of the all phenomena are impermanent in any way, right? We are, on the course of impermanence at all times. So we cannot stop or, avoid, being being in the course of the impermanence, right? We are anyway on the impermanence. So therefore, it is good to practice the impermanence and then make our human, precious body, useful or valuable. And it is the human precious human body, uh, it is only this that we are able to attain Buddhahood. So now it is, when we have this, then it is an urgent time to really utilize this precious human body, right? Like, business people, they will, make a lot of effort to make money. Students make a lot of effort to learn knowledge. And then army, when it's urgent time, they will make a lot of effort in their work, right? So just like that, for us, we have these human precious bodies, and so this is the best opportunity for us to obtain this, the or reach the state of the Buddhahood, and then free ourselves from the ocean of the sufferings, right? So and basically the main the point of practicing impermanence is to have diligence and joy in practicing Buddha Dharma. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this point.
ni ta de jela pe dun na zo la sam de mi da ba gom da ji le myong yore ni de yang be na tambe che ngo ba ji lu la sam da wa yin jiden je kam de tene droba ne kale mi so celo jabe tu yin celo ka so gor pang me ji tu yin se gre celo pa do me be ka so ni zambuling ji mi din zo la ni ma dan da wa ko yo mare so bo la ran shin ji we yo re se ge yo re ani se de la ya na se ra ba sa na min do kam ji se la tu me go ba che ting ning zin ji se na tem ba re se ge yo re 아니 딜레당 뉴바딘 좀 담몰람 주도 세로 레라 되는 칼에 마냠용도 아니 랑 수부지 회든자 냠 아니 감사라고 받아서 마된 어딘데 다 디난 되서 상보 유비치 갑라 칼바 조덴스 그래 아니 네 나자다 다초발라서 봐 녀다 가야 매봐 당신 이 칼바 상보 여봐 강사 팔지 랑신지 개와줄라 주고 비투 메개와주 미주비도 강사지 체디 미체디 로제들레 학바데 비투라 칼본 조덴스 그래 다 되네마 냠용데 된 가서고로 칼바 Sumdenda, Nidenda, Zoidensene, and Mama Nyamyundu, Sayang Rapa Shucheriche, Megawachuan Shucheriche, Sayang Tondu, then Kale, Seluchuba Bordoma, Yurugure. That Dilla Samadana, couldn't Jura Mambo Chetebrugur, and delay in Namshala Sanamido. And the Chawa Chedan Latine, Do Mambo and Jurtegure. Chedan to Kejil and Jura Yukare, the number of the do, and Selo Pang men at the Katie Mama, and Selo Chuba Bordma, Yamdugres, Chuba Yang, Katie Yang Chuba, then Yaju Majumambo Chide, that Tarden Kamendoa. And in Azumi, leading the Tomnaya, Taba Demakayo Mar, Chibani, Keba, Shambalas, but in King Kengo Bordalaya cigarette, de Parola Chian Sigure, or Tenemi Dabaresha Asana, chose some Lodorana.
So, sorry, as a translator, made a mistake again. It's not to contemplate at this point. So, anyway, and then there were also analogies and examples, from the Abhidhamma literatures, and from the Abhidhamma literature, there was a time in the many years, 1,000 years back, and in that age, is called age of the limitless lifespans, and the people are living for long times, and the people did not need the suns and the moon and so forth. They carry the lights on their body naturally, natural lights, and they didn't have to depend on the substantial food like we take these days. They are basically living on the food of the samadhi, samadhi food. And however, these also age slowly kind of transformed, right? Actually, that a specific age was called in Tibetan Dzogden, the perfect age, probably if I can translate. And in that age, then there was no such a violation, such work, or the work such as the violation of the 10 virtuous deeds. Nobody is doing bad things. Basically, everybody are ethically so excellent, and people live for 80,000 years. However, then slowly this age kind of transformed into shorter ages, which are in Tibetan called Sumden, Ninden, more like the shorter time, the shorter time of the excellence, right? And then slowly it transforms into the age where people live only for 10 years, right? And from these course of the transformation, we can see things are not stable. Things are basically impermanent. All things are impermanent. Even great ages like that at the end kind of transformed into an a not favorable age, right? So they are also on the course of the impermanence. They are not, such ages are not stable. So just like that, our, the present human age as well as, human life are also not stable at all, right? We are constantly on the course of changing, you know? So, some people might live for, longer life, which is to the age or, old age, uh, 70, 80s. But some people might even would not reach such age, would die just at a young age, right? At early age, adult age. So now please contemplate on these point. These are the nature of the impermanence. Please, yeah, think about those.
so. Da Nangshindo Ngaranzo Yarga, Gunga, Tunga, Chiga, second law, Chilla, and it used to such a mambajala to the Hira. Yarge Duzola, Chow Mamba down with you now. Tunga Duzolani, and Station Medal to the Ya, Joe to the Yabo Min. And the Congo Duzola Yang, and Karasor Tanga Show Champo down. Any Station Lodo Medal to the Ma Nyam. Yang jige tu zo zho ya, jie du yang, zixin lo dong me dong za ya, jie yong du, da du den den xia la me dong yuru zhugu yure. Ene saja khashi la du ni yo ba ina yang, nu ko gyura tegu yure. Saja khashi la du sum namba yo na yang, ko gyura tegu yure. Ko kandar lo je la dawa junni yure, dawa junni dawa re re lo ko gyuru zhugu yure ma do ba je la. Kadu nan, chikpa chikyan ne ba sa gande, sa ne yo ma re. Te nangshin ngarang zu mi lu den de lang sa wu che la keji re 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 ren gyura te gu yure. Rob zi she na ni jeba, yu shon no, ene ka sa go re. Darba, daryul, ene kenpa, kenko san, ko renpe she ne ko gyura te mdo gu re ma do. Ene chikra negi ma ra wa. Wa tende yin du tama ene rosa chikma do me ba re, yin hi wu cho chin di yin ba re. Wa tende la yin kyok san samna dang ro nang.
Okay. Then, if we think about the seasons, different seasons, then generally, most places have four seasons: summer, and fall, winter, and springs. Right? In summers, well, it will rain. Right? In the fall, we will have lots of fruits. All things will produce fruits, right? That's the fall season. And then in winter, things will change into another phenomena, which is cold and freezing, snowing, so forth. And then in spring, after that cold season, then it's spring. And in spring, then things change into another form, or the stage, which is everything is giving birth to the new lives, right? So in this case, things are changing throughout the years, right? And even within a year, everything is changing, right? Even there's only 1-2 seasons in a place, that is also changing, one from the others. If there's only 3 seasons, also it is a change as well, right? It's changing from first to second, second to third, right? And then within the month, the 12 months are also constantly moving, changing, one to the next, right? So nothing stays the same, right? So then we human body, just like that, our human bodies and the human life is changing constantly. Every moment we are changing. Yeah, if we speak roughly about our changes of our human life, first we are children, and then later we are adult, you know beings or teenagers, and then afterwards we are kind of old people. So just like that, we will always change. Nothing will kind of stay at one age and not changing. So please now take a moment and contemplate on these points.
나서 다가 나신도 가서 나와질라더니 자와지네 야 사바청아 버도는 다와디야 펠로고 요래 엔 사바주는 남가마도 마마마 립로고 건조람 테브도 마도마 템보샤라 제네게 요마레 닌잔라 사모다나 쇼바 니마야 니마데 샤르주나 샤네 고마마 노브로고 요래 생문 나와 샤르주나 샤네 nga줄레민데 되는 마양 나와데 마 노브로고 요래 대 나신 때는 아주 미르된데 양 깨기 요래데 깨내든 갈래갈래 마 되네 야 신는 저거 그래 네 개바나 코바나 시와라서 봐딱 중국 요래 시 거기는 개바나 코바 저거 비 잡아든 예 말와 근데 깨네 내버도는 남지마도 시엘레 레베르 니마샤로잖아 너보고 요래 강사 로아 지인에서도 깨비잖아 시보고 요래 되네 가서야한테래 대여 말해서 원래는 교수 삼는 나로나
Okay, then thinking about a month, then within a month, the first day to 15th, then it's vaccine days, right? It's constantly the length of the day is kind of increasing a little bit, and then from 16th to 30th, it's rainy days, right? So also there is a course of changes, constant changes every day, right? And then also within a day, early, in the morning, the sun rises from the east, and then later sun sets into the west. And in the evening, the moon rises also from the east, and then later kind of goes off into the west, as well. So, and we human beings, just like those, we human beings, we are born and then later go through those stages of their lives, and then at the end we die, right? Of course, not every human beings will go through the every stage of life, you know like children, teenager, adult, and old age. Some would not be able to go through all these stages. They die early. Some might be able to go through all these stages, but at the end they still die, right? There's no beings who has born and then never died. The sun rises from the east and then at the end has to kind of goes off into the west. So it's just like that. Our human their life at the end has to be perished. We all are subject to death. So now please take a moment and contemplate on this.
라서 되는 가서 배자데 된지 삼는 갈래 마소로나
So now please follow me in doing the rest of the practice on the text.
제야로바 제벤 jelungoro tejen sanga jebe gewa tuzum zambe gezo gondo de lame jang nimborong wara enji zonam de daye rowa china zangwe barje gunji remye lam Chupa Darjin Bema Jalb Goban Yurondo Sho Zagyu Lame Jilam Nila Yedam Gandro Leda Devje Chugyon Sume Barje Gonzal Chodun Gojun Drube Dashi Shom Om Badran Guru Bema Sede Bishi De Lechem Oye Jeni Oyasal Nyo Mega Ye Dame Sonjo Wan Bejo Darangonawi Ranshin Jo Beshin Jo Bemawi Chunyi Ngo Som Jase Dele Lo Nyam Nango Beja Men Ganjem Reba Ze Bemba Wo Jagenzo Chuse Lo De Doje Lo Garanjo Devi De Me Gombo Da Ye Ninje Dere Jen Jana Be Monda Kozum Go De Chime De Jenza Kando Jo Be Zenjo Jelazo Zendango Ye Namro Dale Be Jodra Wajembe Dunzande Tajenga Nyam Yeje Jazum Sede Be Matado Jewarajo Deyare Zenamje Zenlamla Denengo Yeje Jazum Tsuye La Mengo Ba Nyurdom Rangshin De Ni Lunje Druparajo De Me Shi Da Yer Me Be Manjo Rananda Be Sando Bareji Nare Yer Me Manju Nyume De Ne Nam Da Shindo Je Warajo Gangdo Jibi Jewa Damji Dore Yunde Dunde Dobro Yema Dando Cheda Jegurune Zulshe Jube Rawa Yubra Chedo Nene Nyingbe Dundrumde Cedre Zibe Jazo Galvura Simba Dambe Charam Denji Shimen Jubla Jungala Bebarajo Labji Jindu Jore Beba Tamje Jamje Sanje Do Barajo Lazo Andineche Andit Lajema Nibeji Losaji Namgang Dende Yinzang Nazo Zindamebayi.
So next week is Tibetan New Year is coming, so we will cancel the class.
Ni Sama Guzu Doja Nang and Toji Shui Dunda Nijila Jayong.
So yeah, thank you everyone. Please take care. We will see each others again after 2 weeks.